The man who tried my bedroom window knew exactly when my bus card ran out. I still can't get over that part. It wasn't random, it wasn't wrong place, wrong time. He knew my schedule down to the swipe. I work closing shift at this grocery store that pretends to be 24/7, so I drag myself out around 11:30 almost every night, brain fried, legs aching, just wanting my shower in my bed. Same walk to the stop, same spot under the busted streetlight, same late bus, same seat where I can lean my head on the window and not think. That routine made me feel safe, like if I did the same thing every night, nothing could surprise me. Turns out, it just made me easy to track. He started popping up one week like he'd always been there. Cheap cologne that stuck in my throat, beat up work boots, reflective safety vest, maybe mid-40s. Just another night shift guy, I thought. He never sat right next to me, always across or a row back, angled so he caught my reflection in the window. Not my face, my reflection. Took me a few rides to notice that. At first I told myself I was imagining it. Then one night after I hit the bell, he leaned a little forward and said, casual as hell, "You always get off 3 stops from the end." I froze. I never seen him stand up when I got off, never seen him follow, so I assumed he lived nowhere near me. I just muttered, yeah, I guess, because women get taught to be polite even when something feels wrong. That night, I counted the stops. 1, 2, then my stop, 3 from the end, exactly like he said, and when I stepped down and looked back through the glass, he was still in his seat, watching my reflection until the bus pulled away. A few days later, I sat closer to the middle, trying not to look at him. He was on his phone, scrolling slow, but his eyes didn't move like he was reading. At one point, he said my stop name out loud, almost under his breath, like he was trying out the sound of it. Didn't look up, didn't talk to me, just said it. Hearing my stop come out of his mouth made my stomach turn. I went home and told myself I was being dramatic, that it was city life, that I wasn't some main character in a thriller, but I still changed things. I tried getting off a stop earlier. He stayed on. Tried to stop later. He stayed on. I took the bus an hour earlier one night. He wasn't there, and I felt stupid for being relieved, but 2 days later on my normal time, there he was again, boots spread wide, eyes on the glass. That's when my card started running low. I'd screwed up my budget that month. Rent hit, and the auto reload bounced. I even posted about it on a local money-saving thread, whining about being broke, saying I'd have to walk after my pass expired until I got paid. I mentioned the bus line number and the rough time because I wanted advice. Didn't think about who else might read it. The night before my pass ended, I tapped the reader and it beeped red. The driver waved me through because he knew me, but my face burned anyway. From a few feet behind, I heard that little laugh. I turned, and he was closer than usual now, one hand on the pole, that cologne mixing with the wet wool smell of everyone's coats. "Tomorrow's the day, huh?" he said. I frowned. "What?" He nodded at the reader. "Last swipe. Then you're walking." He said it like he knew it for a fact, not like he guessed. I sat down, heart pounding, replaying that stupid thread in my head. My username wasn't my real name, but it wasn't anonymous enough either, and my city was right there in my profile. I went home, opened the browser, and there was my post, my shift time, my bus line, my comment about the pass expiring tomorrow and having no money for a refill. Someone anonymous had replied, "Walking's good for you. Just be careful in the dark. People watch." I'd brushed it off earlier as some weird attempt at humor. Reading it after he said that line felt like ice water down my back. The night my pass actually died, rain came down hard, that cold, steady kind that soaks your jeans in minutes. I could have asked a coworker for a ride, but I didn't want to explain why. Didn't want to hear, "You're overthinking it." My phone already sat at like 6%, and I tried to save the battery. No music, no scrolling, just my thoughts and the hum of the bus. I changed it up and got off at a different stop, closer to a main road, more traffic. That felt smarter. I kept my head down and walked fast. Rain hitting my face had slipping back. Halfway home my phone died, screen black, and that tiny comfort disappeared. My street looked wrong without the noise in my ears. Most porch lights were off, curtains closed, cars parked tight. Only one porch glowed. My neighbor across from me, the retired guy who always smokes on his steps and complains about dogs. That light has always annoyed me, but that night I locked onto it like a lifeline. I passed my own place first, small house, 2 windows facing the street. My bedroom sits on the side, not visible from the front. As I reached the gate, someone coughed from the side yard. Not a sick cough. Short, hard, like someone clearing their throat because they're about to speak. My body froze. My feet kept moving slow, like I was in a dream where nothing obeyed. I turned my head. My bedroom window, screen hung halfway off, bent, one corner dangling, metal scraped. Mud streaked the glass like fingers had slipped. Right under it, in the wet dirt, sat a boot print. Heavy, deep, edges still sharp from the rain. I knew that tread. I'd stared at those boots across from me night after night. Just beyond the fence line, near the tree at the corner, I saw a crumpled safety vest on the ground, bright strips catching my neighbor's porch light, like someone had yanked it off and thrown it down in a hurry. I didn't wait to see if anyone stepped out. I screamed my neighbor's name and bolted across the street, shoes sliding on the wet pavement, heart punching my ribs. As I hit his steps, I heard a car engine fire up somewhere behind my house, 1 block over, then tires squeal as it took off way too fast for a residential street. My neighbor opened his door in a robe, eyes wide, and I must have looked insane, soaked hair in my face, shaking, babbling about the bus and the window and the man. He looked past me, saw the half-ripped screen, and his face went hard. He dragged me inside, locked the door, and called 911. 2 cops showed up, walked my yard with flashlights like they were bored. I kept pointing at the print, the screen, the vest. He knew my bus card ran out, I said. He knew I'd have to walk. He's been riding with me for weeks. One shrugged and said, "Could just be kids messing around. Kids don't sit across from me every night and memorize my stop. Kids don't read my posts and comment about walking in the dark." Transit took an incident report. The woman on the phone sounded polite, said they'd review the bus cameras, said if they saw anything, they'd let me know. Nobody ever called back. I stopped riding buses after that. I broke my lease, moved apartments, picked a place off a different line. I bought a beat-up car with a sticky ignition and a door that squeaks, and I drive that piece of shit like it's armor. I still catch myself scanning every construction worker, every pair of work boots, every safety vest at night. I can't sit near windows anymore without noticing who can see my reflection. To the guy who studied my commute like a hunting pattern and picked the night I had to walk, I moved. I drive now, and if I ever see your boots on my bus again, I'll be holding a camera, not a fucking transfer. The IT guy in my old job still knows what my bedroom looks like. I think about that way more than I want to. I'll be brushing my teeth or scrolling TikTok and bam, there it is again. That stupid green light on the work laptop and the fact that I let it sit there pointed straight at my bed for months. We all got issued laptops for flexibility. Management said it like they were doing us a favor. In reality, it meant my room turned into an office overnight. Only flat space I had was a cheap desk jammed against the wall, bed right behind it, webcam aimed at the whole mess, headboard, poster, fairy lights, pile of clothes. I told myself it was normal. Everyone else worked like that. First week at home, the VPN kept dropping. Every half hour, disconnected. I swore at my Wi-Fi, rebooted the router, the usual. Then IT pings me. Some friendly little message. He can take over my machine for a sec to check logs. I hit accept without thinking. Mouse starts moving on its own. Windows open, close, command prompt flashes. I sit there in an old t-shirt and sweatpants. Half embarrassed, he can probably see my face, but I shove that down. He finishes, sends a "should be good now." I thank him like a good little employee and go back to work. Only it keeps happening. The drops, the remote sessions, but they shift later and later until they stop lining up with work at all. I log off around 7, leave the laptop open because you never know, then crawl into bed. Around 11 p.m., like clockwork, I'd get that banner. IT requests remote access to resolve background errors. Sometimes a line added in. Just saw some errors. Mind if I hop on? At that point, I'm in bed in a tank top and underwear. Netflix on one screen, email still open on the other because I'm a fucking idiot. I'd angle the laptop a little so the camera pointed more at the wall, hit accept, and pretend it didn't feel gross. I kept telling myself, it's just IT, he's just fixing things, you're not that interesting. Then one night, I'm exhausted and pissed off. The banner pops up again at 11. Something. I stare at accept. My skin crawls. Instead of clicking, I just close the lid. First time I ever do that. I feel weirdly guilty, like I've broken a rule. 2 minutes later, my phone buzzes. Work email. From him. Your camera seems blocked by something. Could you remove it for verification? I just sit there in the dark with my phone lighting my face. My heart starts hammering. I never said anything about covering my camera. I never taped it. All I did was tilt the laptop slightly away from my bed before closing it. That's it. So how the fuck does he know what my camera usually sees? That's when the feeling flips from annoying to, oh, this is bad. Next day, I start digging. I'm not some hacker, but I can follow a tutorial. I find the logs for the remote tool. Tons of session entries with his username. Some timestamps I remember approving. Others no. There's nothing in my memory. No banner at those times. Just 11:23 p.m., 1:04 a.m., 2:51 a.m. Then I notice another log file. Webcam stuff. The indicator light flipping on for exactly 30 seconds. Over and over. Always late. Always when the system says I'm idle. No clics, no keystrokes. LED on, 30 seconds off. So he's been turning the camera on by himself. No request on my screen. No, mind if I hop on. Just silent snapshots like lifting blind a little to peek. I feel this heat spread from my chest up my neck. That mix of humiliation and rage. I scroll further back. It started the first week I brought the laptop home. Sometimes every night. There's one at 3 a.m. I remember that night. Couldn't sleep. Laptop on my knees under the blanket. Some bullshit true crime playing. I thought I was alone. Now I'm shaking. I email copies of the logs to my personal account because I don't trust anything on the work network anymore. And because I'm petty and furious, I take his username, same one from the ticket system, and dump it into Reddit. I expect nothing, just static. Instead, his profile pops up. Same handle, same stupid vibe. Posts about hardware, games, WFH life. Then there's a thread where IT guys trade horror stories about remote users. Right there, he's whining about prudish WFH girls who hide their rooms and wasting good bandwidth on blank walls. My stomach drops when I hit one specific comment. He talks about a girl with a lame movie poster over the bed, dark wooden headboard with a chunk missing on the left, and basic fairy lights like every Pinterest bitch. That's my room. Fight Club poster. Chipped in the headboard from when I moved. Cheap fairy lights I bought because the overhead light gave me headaches. I feel like I've been slapped. Suddenly, it's not just paranoia. It's confirmation, in his own words, that he's been staring into my bedroom and bitching online that I don't give him enough to look at. I print the screenshots. I schedule a meeting with HR. I walk in there with my laptop, my phone, my hands still shaking. I lay it all out. The late night sessions, the email about the blocked camera, the logs, the Reddit comments that literally describe my furniture. The HR woman keeps this tight, polite smile the whole time. She says things like these tools can be confusing, and sometimes they misreport sessions. I point at the Reddit screenshots and ask if misreporting also includes magically posting about my fairy lights. She doesn't like that. Her eyes go flat. She tells me I shouldn't be poking around in system files and they'll handle it internally. I ask if he's being suspended. She dodges. She says they're reassigning some IT roles anyway. That's it. I walk out feeling like I was the one who did something wrong. A couple days later, my manager casually drops in a team meeting that our IT point of contact has moved to another team. No explanation. No mention of my complaint. No, hey, someone violated your privacy and we're sorry. Just corporate shuffle, sweep the mess under the rug. I can't stand looking at that laptop after that. It sits on my desk like a fucking spy. One night I snap. I flip it open, stare straight into the camera, and feel that crawling, watch feeling all over again. I grab a screwdriver and start prying at the bezel. Plastic cracks. Screen flexes. I rip the frame off and yank at the tiny camera module until it tears free. It feels good. I keep going until keys fly and the screen spiderwebs. I send work an email the next morning. Laptop was damaged in a fall. They replace it. No questions. I tape over the camera on the new one before I let it join the Wi-Fi. Then I tape over my personal laptop. Then my phone. Now I can't stand any uncovered lens in my space. TV, tablet, even the fucking peephole on my door gets a sticker. People joke about it. Call me paranoid. They say IT doesn't have time to spy on people, that I'm not that interesting. And logically, yeah, I know I'm just one more bored insomniac girl in a shitty room. But that didn't stop him. Didn't stop him from flipping that camera on at 3 a.m. just to see what my blocked view looked like. Didn't stop him from complaining online when the view wasn't sexy enough. I don't work there anymore. Official reason, stress, mental health, work-life balance. Real reason, every time my company laptop lit up, I saw that fucking Reddit comment about my headboard. I heard HR telling me not to go digging. I realized that if something like that happens, they protect the guy with access, not the girl in the frame. So yeah, I smashed that laptop. I keep tape on every camera now because some bored dude behind a help desk ticket system decided my insomnia was his late-night entertainment. I recognized my old roommate in a Reddit thread about an unidentified serial offender because of the way he folded receipts. Not his name, not his face, just those tiny perfect squares sitting in a shoebox on an evidence table. I was lying in bed, phone 2 inches from my nose, half awake, scrolling through a true crime sub while my brain rotted, and this case dump graphic post pops up. People were freaking out, doing that armchair detective thing, zooming in on duct tape and rope like they knew anything. One photo was just a shoebox, lit off, full of movie stubs and grocery slips, each folded into little cubes. Same size, same shape, stacked in rows. And my body knew before my brain did. My stomach clenched, and I got this stupid hot flash like I was about to puke. Because my old roommate, Ben, used to sit at our kitchen table doing that exact shit every night. He'd come home, drop his keys, empty his pockets, and quietly start folding receipts into those cubes. He'd line them up by date, write tiny notes on some of them, then feed them into this little shredder he bought off Amazon. He called it a privacy thing. I called it weird. I remember balling up a receipt and throwing it at him once. He smoothed it out like it was precious, folded again, and again, thumbs moving automatic. I joked he was one bad day away from wearing someone's skin. He just smiled without looking up. Online, I always rolled my eyes at armchair sleuths, and now I was doing the same thing, pinching and zooming that photo like a maniac. The folds were the same. The way the ink from the thermal paper faded at the creases, same. Even the shoebox looked like the kind he used, old sneakers brand peeled off the side. We'd lived together for a year. He was quiet, neat, paid rent on time. No wild parties, no screaming matches. His weirdness was small stuff. The receipts, the way he wiped doorknobs after guests left, how he kept asking if the building had cameras for security. Once he got mad because I borrowed his scissors and put them back facing the wrong direction in the drawer. The air went stale for a second. Then he snapped back into chill Ben like flipping a switch. He moved out fast, said his dad was sick back in his hometown, gave me like a week's notice. He packed alone, door shut, and got cagey when I tried to help. Boxes already taped, labels in his rigid block letters. He swore he'd text me when he got there. Instead, he just vanished. Phone dead, socials gone. I assumed it was some family meltdown he didn't want to talk about. I didn't push. People disappear from each other's lives every day, right? The more I stared at that evidence photo, the more little memories crawled out. Nights the shredder ran for 30 solid minutes. Him coming in late with mud on his jeans when it hadn't rained. Him standing in the dark kitchen with the fridge open, not eating, just breathing heavy. I'd shrug it off. Tired, stressed, whatever. Seeing that box, I realized how hard I'd worked not to think about it. That night my brain would not shut up. Every shadow in the apartment felt like it belonged to him. I kept thinking about where he used to sit, where he used to stash his crap. I told myself I was just spooked by true crime bullshit. Then I remembered something dumb and specific. When he moved out, he'd labeled one of his shoebox's bills in those block letters and said he'd grab it later. He never came back. I never saw that box leave. The idea stuck like a splinter. I walked through the apartment at 2 in the morning, lights off, then on, arguing with myself. If I found nothing, I'd feel crazy. If I found something, I'd ruin my own life. Still, my hands moved on their own. I ended up in a bathroom, kneeling on the tile, dragging crap out from under the sink, cleaners, old razors, a bag of plastic bags, and my fingers hit cardboard. I pulled out a shoebox I didn't recognize. Taped shut, heavier than it looked. The side said bills in his perfect block print. Seeing his handwriting after all that time hit me harder than any jump scare. I just sat there holding it, heart going nuts. Part of me wanted to shove it back and forget it. Another part asked what I'd say if a victim's family ever looked me in the eye and asked why I didn't check. I ripped the tape and opened it. Inside were folded squares. Not mine. Not electricity bills, not rent receipts. Just layer after layer of those little cubes. I picked one up, pried it open. A receipt from a gas station 2 states away. Date from years back. On the corner, his handwriting, late, raining, girl at pump 4. Another, movie ticket from a town I'd never heard him mention. Note, alone, stayed after credits, red backpack. More receipts, more notes. Names I didn't know, phone numbers with different area codes, phrases like talked once, followed out, same route. And then underneath all that, a stack of printed missing person flyers. Some are copies of ones I'd seen online years ago and scrolled past in 3 seconds. Here they were in my bathroom, on cheap paper, creased from being handled. On the back of one, in the same tidy handwriting, met once. Remember eyes. Might see again. That line made my skin crawl worse than the photo on the front. Not help find her. Not poor girl. Just might see again, like he was planning a second meeting. I flipped through them, and my hands started to shake. The dates on some of the receipts lined up with the dates those people disappeared, at least from what my memory and the Reddit guesses told me. I'm not a detective, but I'm not fucking blind. I pulled out my phone and opened the thread again. Put the police evidence photo next to the box on my floor. Same type of shoebox. Same cubes. Same damn black gel pen. Same block letters in the margin of one shot. My lungs forgot how to work for a second. I argued with myself for way too long. Maybe he was just a freak collecting tragedy. Maybe none of it meant anything. Maybe I was about to wreck some investigation with a false lead. But then I imagined some girl's mom finding out. I kept quiet because I didn't want to overreact. That made me feel sicker than anything else. I called the tip line with shaking hands. My voice came out thin and high, like it belonged to someone else. I told them about the receipts, the notes, the flyers, his name, our address back then. The detective on the phone went very quiet when I said my city and the range of dates. No more polite filler, just questions, precise ones. They asked what the handwriting looked like, if I still had anything else with it on there. When I read the met once, remember eyes, might see again, line out loud, they stopped me and had me repeat it slower. They told me to bring the box in that day. No if you can, no whenever. Just bring it. Walking into that building with the shoebox felt like walking in with a live bomb. They took it like they'd been waiting for it. One of them asked me to write a sentence on a form. Anything. I wrote, Ben lived with me for a year, trying to copy his block style. Watching the detective compare that to the receipts in the bag made my stomach twist. They didn't tell me if he was their guy. Couldn't, probably. They just kept saying I did the right thing, that they might contact me later, that I shouldn't talk about details online. I drove home in this weird fog, seeing phantom copies of his face in every car that passed me. I still don't know if Ben is their guy or just another creep orbiting something uglier. Maybe he's the one. Maybe he's just the type who gets off trailing behind real monsters and taking notes. Either way, I shared a fridge with him, split utilities, complained about the landlord to his face. I lived down the hall from him for a year. I slept while he cataloged strangers like collectibles and stacked them under my fucking sink.